Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 60 of this podcast. I am your host, Sarah Stevens. I'm coming to you from Spokane, Washington. And today is Sunday, August maybe 12th, 13th. I should have probably looked. I'm actually unsure if it's the 11th or 12th. But anyways, welcome. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and welcome if you are new. You guys, it's been a week since I filmed last, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of the kind words last week when I filmed for the first time in a very, very long time. It was so nice, and as awkward as that podcast was, I had it filming the wrong way, like my phone was faced in the wrong direction. Um, I was filming in front of my yarn cabinet, which I realized I just really like filming at my dining room table more. And so I'm back this week filming at the dining room table. And anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for being patient with me, as last week's podcast was not the norm. But anyways, so yeah, it's been a long week actually. I had a really long work week, and I did a lot of knitting though. I got a lot of knitting done. I feel pretty proud of my progress. I was able to have brunch with some girlfriends yesterday. We went over to one of their houses and had brunch, which was great. It was a nice little break from just the busyness that life has just been. And then today, my dad is going to come over in a little while and hang out, and just catch up. So that'll be really fun too. Yeah, so I guess let's go ahead and get into the show. I do have one finished object. I have a new project going. I did make some progress on my blanket, and I did actually get my needles into that last sleeve of my sweater yesterday. So I do want to talk to you about once I get this sweater done, my next project that I bigger project that I want to cast on to, and then also what book I have decided I want to read before September. Now, if I actually get through it, that's going to be something of a miracle, but I think I've finally decided which one I'm going to read, so I'm kind of excited about that. But anyways, I'm just drinking ice water. I got a new Starbucks cup. These are my favorite cups ever, actually. Just the plain classic clear one for my ice water, because it has the double, layers, I guess. That no condensation ever gets built up. So I love that. I know a lot of people like Stanley cups, and they like their hydro flasks and everything, and I like this simple cup with a straw. My ice melts, I put new water and ice in, and I'm good to go. So I'm pretty excited about getting my new cup. Yeah. So anyways, I finished my Mercury socks. Yay! I'm super excited about this. They flew off the needles basically. This is old yarn that I dyed many moons ago. I named it Like a Mother. It has all of these different speckles of pink and fuchsia and plums and indigo and grays and ivories, some teals, just a little bit. I love this colorway so much. Oh my gosh. And this pattern, I have it memorized. It's just one of my favorites. I did do, I cast on 64 stitches, even though the size that I was doing really only needed 60 stitches, but because I hate doing knit 2 purl 2 because I knit on DPNs. I despise when the last 2 stitches of one needle is a knit 2 and then I have to purl 2 for the first needle on the second needle. It is a pet peeve of mine. I don't enjoy it. So I would even be okay if I split it up where it was like knit 1, then purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1 at the end, and then another knit 1, just so I don't have to purl the first stitch on a DPN. It's the silliest thing in the world, but it drives me crazy. So anyways, I cast on to 64 stitches. I did 20 rounds in the cuff, and then I just decreased on the very last round, the last 2 stitches of each needle. Easy, easy. And then, I did 10 repeats before I started the slip stitch heel, and I did 16 2-row repeats for the heel, and then I continued working in pattern, decreasing the gusset until I had a total of 25 repeats on the foot, and then I just decreased for my toe. I did use my favorite needles for socks. These are the Knitter's Pride 2.0 millimeter US size 0. They are my all-time favorite needles for knitting socks. So I did use those. But I'm really happy with how they turned out. So one more sock to go in my sock bin. I have not decided if these are going to be a gift or if these are just going to be for me. But yeah, they'll get tucked away. I have a bin that's just, I just keep adding to it. It's just the way I'm doing it, but super thrilled. So then as I was going through, I'm going to kind of like jump ship from the knitting for just a second and talk about crochet, because as I was bringing all of my stuff upstairs, I realized how many scraps I have, right? So I cast onto that scrappy blanket. And last week I talked about how I wanted to do a scrap a day and just try and make that happen. And I realized that really is going to be my goal. I went through all of my scraps and there are so many. And I counted last week. As of last week, there were 145 days left in the year as of last Sunday. So that means that there are now 138, right? I'm guessing, so long as my math is correct, 138 days left in the year. So my goal this year is I'm really going to do my best to be scrap free after 2023. Play on words. One other podcaster said that was her goal for the whole year, scrap free in 2023. And I love that idea. And I guarantee I have 138 scraps. And so I'm going to do that. And then I realized as I worked one of the colors, the like a mother into this blanket, that there really is no reason why I should not have one of these blankets going pretty much all of the time to use up my scraps. And whether they become throw blankets for my house or somebody else's house or what have yous, it's so nice to not have that scrap laying around. I really should have thought about this years ago. Years and years and years ago. So I did get 7 new colors done on this blanket, and it has grown a lot. So on Sunday, I was on this darker green, like emerald kind of color. I don't know if you can see it with the light. And I managed to get 7 new colors. This is an entire skein that was wound up, and it was a skein that I had attempted to cast onto socks multiple times. I have another maroon color and I have a brown color somewhere in my stash too. and it's the Frog Tree Petaboo, and it is more of a sport weight than a fingering weight. And I don't have US size 1.5 DPNs, which is probably what I should have used to knit socks with. And so I had attempted to make something with this single, like a pair of shorty socks, because you almost need 2 skeins because they're not 100-gram skeins, I don't believe. Anyways, I didn't know what to do with it, so I literally just worked it into this blanket. I'm happy I did. I feel like it's being put to good use. But I did get through the green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. I got exactly seven colors. So that's my plan, you guys. I'm going to just continue on doing a scrap a day out of my big scrap bin, and I've got 137 left to go. I'm pretty excited. If that is something that you want to join along with me on, I just think that would be so much fun. I'm not going to do a thread for it. It's just kind of something, but I would be curious if you would want to do that, and I'd love to know your progress and how you're feeling about using up your scraps. Yeah. So exciting. So I am using just a 5mm crochet hook. This is it's actually a Hiya hook. That's hysterical. I didn't even know I had a Hiya crochet hook, but I do, apparently. It's a 5.0mm hook. I don't know what that translates as far as letters go. But for this blanket, I'm holding fingering and sport weight double. So if I have a fingering weight scrap, I'm holding that double. And if it's a sport weight scrap, I'm holding that double. And then if I have a DK or a worsted weight, I'm just holding them single. And it doesn't really seem, I mean, yes, you can kind of tell, ever so slightly, the transition, but not enough that anyone should care. It is a scrappy blanket. So I'm thrilled with the flexibility that gives me of using up all the scraps. I've only ever done fingering weight before, and it takes forever. Fingering weight held single on these crochet blankets literally takes forever. And I feel like because it takes so long, I lose interest a lot faster than what I'm enjoying myself here. Granted, it's only been a week, so my thought process may change as the weeks continue, but there we are. Okay, so my next whip that I'm working on is and I guess that's why I wanted to sidetrack, as I was going through that big bin of scraps, I found a few full skeins of yarn that had been just wound and forgotten about. And I decided, instead of winding new yarn for this next pair of socks, I'm just going to knit one of these that are already wound up, which it's this incredible bright neon green slime green. It is I totally remember this colorway too. I don't remember the name. I feel like it's To Infinity and Beyond. I could be wrong, but it was a Toy Story reference from Three Irish Girls when Sharon owned it, and she would do these of the month clubs, and I literally was in every single club of Three Irish Girls, and every month you would get to pick skeins, and I always purchased every single skein, and this was one of the ones for that club. So I'm using this up. I do not remember the name of this base, which is disappointing to me because I feel like it's Finley fingering. I could be completely wrong. Clearly I did not have the band. It was already pre-wound. But it is very, very stretchy. Yeah, and it just has to do with the way that the twist of the yarn. So I don't know if it's a woolen spun or a the other spin. A worsted spun or a woolen spun, I'm not sure. But it's very lofty, very stretchy. So I have the leg complete, and I'm working on the heel flap right now. Um, and I'm enjoying myself. It's a fun, bright color. It is not a color that I would now pick for myself now to knit on as a pair of socks, but it was back then. So I'm just using it up. It's just going to be a basic vanilla sock. So 64 stitches around, 60 rounds for the leg, 16 decrease. Then I'll do 60 more for the foot for after the last decrease for the gusset, and then do the toe. So once again, same needles, 2.0 millimeter needles. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself with this color. It does remind me of green slime. It's quite beautiful as you knit it up because you can definitely see the variation of the green and this yellow and this creamy color. I wish my lighting was better so you could see it better. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So this is going to be kind of my work knit. I kind of have decided I'm only bringing my socks to work because I get an hour lunch break, and I typically end up spending about a half an hour of it knitting. And it's just easy. I keep it in one of my little project bags. This one was made for me years and years ago by Stitch Marks the Spot. Her name used to be Falula on Ravelry. Her name is Stephanie. I don't know actually if she is still making project bags or anything like that. I know that she was for a short bit. And we would pick out fabric and send it to her. Lydia and I would when we co-owned O-Loops together, and these were for clubs, and they got a bag and like little kits. So they got a bag and a skinny yarn and a project, and it was just a cute little kit. And they are quilted, so like there's batting in here, so it's soft. And I still absolutely love every bag that she made for these ones. I mean, I'm sure probably because I picked out the fabric for all of them, but I just love them. Love them so much. So that has kind of been the bag that I'm carrying around all of my socks in this month. And that's another thing that I kind of realized as I was going through everything. Y'all, I have so many project bags. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some have been gifts, some were purchased. Yeah, there are so many more than I need or could ever use over a 6-month period. It's quite ridiculous. So I have started teaching a couple friends how to knit. And one of them in particular, I literally gave her an entire garbage bag full of yarn to start with from my own personal stash that would not fit in my yarn cabinet. All different weights, fingering weight, sport, DK, worsted, and bulky. Good variety. She had found her, so coolest story. I'm not going to tell you her name, not that I even think she watches this podcast or you would even know who she is, but she had said that she wanted to learn how to knit, and so she picked up a size 7 needle, a circular needle, and a skein of cotton yarn from Joann's, and had come over one day, and I was teaching her how to make the grandma's favorite dishcloth. And she was doing such a good job actually. And as we all know, that first project, there's drop stitches, you split the yarn, and but she didn't do too terrible. Like, she's not done with it yet. It's only been about a week. She hasn't gotten to the point where she can start decreasing yet, but just the fact that she's gotten as far as she has is pretty incredible to me. Anyways, she was telling somebody in her family about learning how to knit, and they said, well, I have Graham's old knitting needles. Would you want them? And she said, oh my gosh, absolutely. Not really knowing what she was going to be getting. Friends, it is an old vintage boy interchangeable knitting needle set. I mean, it is incredible. Is it boy? I can't remember. It might not be boy. But it is huge. It is a big zipper up binder, and you open it up and it has US size 6 to like 11 needles, and it has 5 different cables, 2 of them being 24-inch cables, and it has the little pieces that you attach to the end if you want, like the little saver, your stitches saver, if you want to use those needles for a different project for a bit and put your project on hold. It is the coolest thing. It had scissors in there. It has a gauge in there. It literally has everything. It is the coolest vintage set ever. Anyways, so she received that, and I helped her transfer her project from these brand new Clover. Oh, I think it was Clover. I do believe it was Clover, and they were metal. Anywho, these Clover needles that she had purchased onto her Graham's interchangeable set, and it's just the coolest idea. So that was a bit of a tangent. Anywho, okay, so the last project I am super excited about. I said that I was really hopeful that I would get my sweater picked back up, and I did. I didn't make very far. I didn't get very far. I didn't make it very far. Make it very far. I only picked up, and I've knit about 12 rounds. I had to go back around because in my pattern, I have you decrease for the sleeve for sleeve shaping, but after I started doing it, I realized that I did not decrease at all for sleeve number 1. I just did quite a rapid decrease and a longer cuff. So I had to go back and fix it. This is why you should not leave your projects languishing for so long. So I wasn't going to go back and fix the decrease down here that I did. So it is 2 stitches less than what this sleeve is because I'm lazy and I didn't want to go back those 12 rounds. You can notice it a little bit. I can notice it a little bit. 2 stitches make a difference, but not a big enough difference that it's going to make me go back. So I am just going to finish up this sleeve. I'm going to go through and count the other sleeve and see how many rounds I did so I can mimic that and then get the sleeve done. I hope to have this done next week and possibly wearing this amazing new sweater next week on the podcast. That is my goal. I'm super excited. I had to find out what needle I had to pick up, and it was a size 6. I did use a 6. I did do a little bit of a gauge. Sometimes I jump around. Even though I write it for one thing, I might, just use what I have sitting there next to me because that's just what I do and figure out the math later. But it was a 6, thankfully. So I got that picked up. I'm excited. Once again, I'm using blacker yarns in the Lionese or Lioness. I don't know which one it is. It is a DK weight. It's 50% Falkland wool and 50% linen. This is the ruby colorway. I think it's going to be super fun to have that for fall because it's like the perfect transition. It's a linen blend, so it would have been perfect for summer too, but just right when it starts to get a little bit chilly in the evening and you have a dress on and you just need a little something, that's kind of what I imagine this is going to be. So I can just pull it out and wear that. Super, super exciting. And as soon as I get that done, I have landed on the next sweater project that I am going to make. So as we all know, actually everybody but me knew this because I'm just not on Ravelry that much anymore. And I had gone on a couple weeks ago, and I was looking at the Hot Right Now, and I thought, good gravy, every single Andrea Mowry pattern I think is on Hot Right Now, like the first 3 pages. It's all Andrea Mowry. This is bananas. There must be a knit along. This is what my first thought was. There's got to be a knit along. Somebody is doing a knit along, and they are doing all Andrea Mowry patterns. So then I go ahead and purchase this pattern because I was like, oh, well, I love a good Andrea Mowry pattern, so that sounds great. I'm going to do this. So I purchased this Shifty 2.0 sweater pattern and get it all printed out and everything. And then I just so happen to be on Instagram a couple days later, and I see that it was Andrea's birthday. And she was offering 40% off if you used a coupon and for her birthday. And then I thought, no wonder. No wonder there were so many Andrea Mowry patterns on the Hot Right Now list, because everybody was using her coupons. Oh, so smart. But then I also kicked myself because I could have also used a 40% off coupon, but I did not. So I guess that was my contribution to Andrea's birthday was a full price pattern purchase. But I'm excited about this. I don't have the yarn picked out yet. Obviously, I'm not going to buy any yarn. It's going to be from my stash. I did read some project notes from some people, and it appears as though the Shifty cowl and shawl, people don't, they said that they didn't really use just sport weight. Like they could not tell the difference when they used the sport and the DK and a fingering all mixed together. And I thought, I think I'm just going to pull from my stash and hope for the best. So that's my plan. I'm going to use 3 variegated fingering weight skeins of yarn that I can just hold double. And I do believe I have some DK weight, enough for a sweater's quantity, possibly. If not, then I definitely have some worsted, but I'm pretty sure I have a DK sweater's quantity in a couple different colors. It's just going to be a matter of picking out what my main color is going to be, because that's what's, the neck and the cuffs and the bottom band. And then obviously it's throughout the entire sweater too, but which one do I want? So that's my plan. As soon as I finish this sweater, I'm going to cast onto this sweater. So if any of you guys, purchased Andrea Mowry patterns for her birthday and you would like to, knit along with me, that would be awesome. I would love to hear if you are knitting on an Andrea Mowry pattern or plan to in celebration of her belated birthday. Yeah. Okay. So last thing, you guys, that I want to talk to you about is this book. I just watched the whole season, the whole series on Hulu, and I really liked it. And one of my friends gave me this book probably 3 years ago. That seems to be a running theme with me. I feel like my world just kind of shut down 3 years ago. Like, I just stopped doing things. But about 3 years ago, I received this book for my birthday, and I haven't read it. But because I just got done watching that series, I think I'm going to. It's Little Fires Everywhere. It's by Celeste NG. I don't know if you pronounce that Nig. Maybe the G's silent. Anywho, it's by Celeste. So I'm not going to cast this on. I'm going to start reading this tonight. It's a relatively short book, you guys. It is only 338 pages. So I think it's completely doable to read that book in the rest of August. Yeah, 2.5 weeks left. So that's not too terrible, I don't think. As long as I read, 20-ish pages a night, I should be fine. So that's my game plan, you guys. That has been what I've been working on, what I've been doing. Oh my gosh, I did start watching last week. I started watching Only Murders in the Building, and it is the Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez TV show, also on Hulu. And you guys, I binge watched the whole thing, and I'm all caught up. A new episode comes out every Monday at 9 p.m. And so I am all caught up for tomorrow night to get to watch the newest episode in season 3. And I'm hooked. I love this series so much. I love the humor. I love those 3 actors together so much. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. So in the meantime, I've gone back and I started rewatching Truth Be Told. That one is an Apple Plus series, and I love that one as well. So that one's really, really good. But it's kind of my placeholder at the moment until my new episode comes out tomorrow night. So anyways, I hope you all had a wonderful week last week as well. I hope you have a wonderful week this week until we chat again. Thank you, as always, for joining and hanging out with me for just a little bit. If this is an episode that you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm trying my best to be more of a regular podcaster, and all of those little thumbs ups and subscribes, they help other people find this channel if it might be something they are interested in as well. So I hope you'll have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again.